What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Roster Bubble Series video. Please hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops your drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. Also share this out to different NFL communities, different people, Giant fans, whoever. It helps us with the algorithm, and more people will see us on YouTube, and it will just help the channel overall. Right now we are at 484 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. With that being said, another Roster Bubble video. This is episode number 34, I believe. So in these types of videos, I take a player that's on the roster bubble. I talk about their background, their competition, how they could possibly win a spot on the roster, how they could lose a spot on the roster, followed by a prediction at the end. So let's get to today's profile / candidate. It is Keelan Doss, wide receiver from the Las Vegas / Oakland Raiders. Some background on Keelan Doss. He was an undrafted free agent in 2019 out of UC Davis. Signed with the Raiders at first. Then he was cut by the Raiders in 2019 at the end of the preseason. Then he was signed to the Jaguars practice squad. Then the Raiders signed him to the active roster, and that was actually, following the release of Antonio Brown. And then he re-signed with the Raiders. He was waived by them and then signed to the practice squad for the next day. And then there was the practice squad protections thing where he was active for like one game in 2020, reverted back to the practice squad, signed a futures contract in 2021, and then at the end of the preseason of 2021, he was cut. Then the Falcons signed to the practice squad, released by the Falcons, signed to the Jets practice squad, released from the Jets practice squad, and then June 10th, he was signed by the New York Giants. He was working out with them for a little bit, along with Isaiah Ford. Isaiah Ford, I believe, is still a free agent, so the Giants did not pick up on him. Some background that I could just, see throughout some of his highlights. Now, highlights are one thing. Highlights and his frame, well, he's 6'3". From what I've seen in terms of the receptions he's gotten and all that other stuff, he's a 50-50 ball guy that also can go over the middle, and I think that's a lot of the skill set that Kenny Golladay provides, and I think he provides it better. So he's going to be competing with guys like David Sills, Colin Johnson, Travis Devoyden. Those guys are 50-50 guys, and Keelan Doss falls in that category. However, stats-wise, to bring it up, 2019 with the Raiders, he played 8 games, started 2 of them, 133 yards on 11 receptions, no touchdowns, but 6 first downs, and a catch percentage of 78.6, which is actually really good, at least in my book. And then his next year with the Raiders, no targets at all, nothing, just played 1 game, and I believe only 1 special team snap. So we'll bring that up later on. Let's move to his competition, his full room of competition. CJ Board, Travis Devoyden, Alex Bachman, Robert Foster, Richie James Jr., Colin Johnson, Austin Prale, and David Sills. How can he try to win a spot on the roster? Avoid dropping passes with the 2s and 3s, show that you belong, and try to stand out on special teams. And I'll include the loss in terms of like how he can lose a spot on the roster as well, because I think it's important. It has a quiet camp, doesn't stand out from the other wide receivers. It's basic. But the problem with Keelan Doss is that career-wise, he's only played 1 special team snap. And we probably have 4 or 5 locks on the roster right now. Maybe, Darius Slayton isn't one of them right now. But you have Wandale, you have Kenny, you have Kadarius, you have Sterling Shepard, if Shepard does not start the year on PUP or something like that. However, with that being said, I talked about this in the Colin Johnson video. 50-50 balls, that's not really going to be incorporated in this offense. So they may keep a couple of 50-50 guys on the practice squad just in case Golladay gets injured, which we could probably bet on maybe at some point in the season, because I don't think he's going to play all 17 games. Maybe they keep a guy like Sills there, or Devoyden, or Johnson. But that doesn't really help Keelan Doss, and I'm not saying you don't need those wide receivers, but I don't think that's going to be included much in the offense. And he's only played 1 special team snap. So those back end of the roster guys, like the 5th and 6th receivers, and the 6th and 7th DBs, and the linebackers as well. You need special teams guys. You can't just have guys that are backups and have never played special teams before. And Keelan Doss happens to unfortunately be one of those guys. 1 special team snap in his career, which is not very good. Now, in college, obviously, is a different story, but he played college, 4 years ago? Almost 5. So we don't know what he's like on special teams. We're not going to know until the preseason and training camp and stuff like that. But he's got to make a name for himself on special teams. He's got to avoid dropping passes with the 2s and 3s and just catch the 50-50 balls and whatever you get over the middle or whatever else you get. Maybe I'm wrong in terms of his limited route tree. Maybe he gets more of a route tree like slants or something. I don't know. But I don't have him making the roster. His limited experience doesn't help. Once again, you do need back end of the roster guys, but to add A, 50-50 ball guy that may not really be incorporated in this offense, B, well, to be fair, he's only played one special team snap, and CJ Board has played special teams. Alex Bachman's played special teams. Robert Foster's played special teams. Richie James has played special teams. Colin Johnson's played special teams. So those guys are right now better equipped to make the roster than Keelan Doss. And some of those guys I mentioned are quicker receivers. Richie James Jr., he's a quicker receiver. I believe Robert Foster's a quicker receiver. There's a couple of guys on the list. So I don't have Keelan Doss making the roster. He'll probably make a practice squad. He could make the Giants practice squad just as a backup for Kenny Galladay in case he gets injured, but they could do that with any other wide receivers I listed. I believe we have 1 or 2 more names to get done, and then we will be done with the wide receiver core. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when the live stream pops or drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. Peace out, guys. See you later. Stay cool.